Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Serenity Strong podcast. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me today. I have a special guest with me, Sam Dancer. Remember, the object of my podcast is to never tell you what to do or how to live your life, but is to give you perspectives, optimistics, and experiences for you to take your life and manifest it however you would like. With me, like I said, I have Sam Dancer. I'm going to turn the mic over to him to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on the Serenity Strong podcast with you, Shelby. I am 33 years old. I am from Quincy, Illinois, and I currently live in Quincy, Illinois, where I own and run a gym with my wife. And we also have a non-for-profit called the Dancer Love Foundation, which supports individuals with any really special need. It could be financial, it could be cognitive, it could be physical. Just anyone who isn't a fully functioning or fully financed person who could get into the gym, we help those people get in the gyms. And I'm also a professional CrossFit athlete, been competing for, 8 years now.
Wow.
And I also have a holistic lifestyle coaching business. And yeah, that's kind of like the quick little snapshot of who I am and what I do and who I'm with.
Love it. So what led you into competing in CrossFit? So you've been doing it for a while, were you pretty athletic growing up, sports wise, and then did you want to continue that, or kind of how did those pieces fall into place?
So I wasn't terribly athletic growing up. I didn't really kind of, I guess, come into my athleticism or my body until like I started getting some of it at the beginning of high school. But all my other friends seemed like light years ahead of me when it came to athleticism. Was never like the first one picked for teams or anything like that. And I wasn't a really big guy again until high school. And I got bullied pretty bad. And that's when I started like getting into my body a little bit. And I thought if I got like big and strong, like people wouldn't pick on me anymore, which is kind of true. So I guess it worked a little bit. Still to this day, I've never been in a fight. Nobody ever really tries to start anything with me. So I guess it worked a little bit, but yeah, we started to get into football quite a bit. I was a football player for most of my life until I graduated college, and then just went through a little identity crisis. I was a football player forever, and I'm no longer a football player. So yeah. I started, it's kind of funny. And a lot of people do this. I never really thought about what I like to do until I didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was an artist. I tried to make it professionally as an artist for a little bit, and that didn't work. Then I went into the corporate world and tried to do sales. That lasted about 3 months maybe. And I was like, I've never do anything like this
ever again.
Ever again. I was fortunate enough to have my boss, the manager of the place I worked. He sat me down and asked me the questions. Probably, honestly, my father passed away when I was younger, and so if he was still around, I'm sure he would have asked me like some of these questions and prompted me into thinking some of these things maybe a little bit sooner in my life. But just asked me the question of, Sam, what do you love to do? And I was like, well, I love working out. We still there?
Yep. You're good.
I'm gonna have to charge my phone in a second, but he asked me what I love to do, and I I was like, I love working out. I love teaching people about fitness and how to eat and how to just feel better. I Since playing football, I was really beat up when I finished. My body, I was in a lot of pain. I wasn't overweight, but I was a big guy. I weighed like 275, which is 50, 60 pounds heavier than I am now. Um, and my joints hurt really bad. I had terrible asthma. So I was on like a little mission to heal myself, and still doing it today. I don't think it'll ever really like
Stop.
it'll ever stop. Yeah. But yeah, I just started going to work on myself right after I finished football and trying to heal myself up and try to feel better. And I read Paul Chek's book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, right after I graduated, and that book just kind of changed my life, and still is today. It's funny when I've read it, a handful of times, and 10 plus years ago, the first time I read it, the thing that I took away from it was that I needed to go gluten free, which is really funny reading the book now, because I'm like, gosh, that's all you took from it was to go gluten free. But it's like, so I read that whole book. I went gluten free, and a ton of inflammation went away. My asthma attacks, probably cut in half. And then, you read the book again, and I'm like, okay, I need to move better. And then I read the book again, and I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I don't eat chemicals. And then you read the book again, and you're like, oh, I need to have a better mindset. So I just kind of kept adding on things to work on and to, refine myself, evolve myself, heal myself. And I went a little off track on that, but basically, yeah, my boss helped me kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And just by simply asking that question, what do I love? And I loved teaching people how to heal and teaching people how to move and lift weights. And I loved working out too. So I was like, wow, I guess I want to open a gym.
Okay.
And then he took me around to go look at some buildings and stuff and help me put together a business plan. And right about at that same time, I learned what CrossFit was and started kind of training for that. And then I learned that you could affiliate with CrossFit, and they kind of gave you like a model, like a vision, and kind of, they give you a vision.
Yeah.
That's really what you do as an affiliate. And so yeah, I affiliated a gym in 2012, and still doing it today. I'm no longer affiliated. We de-affiliated last year, but still coaching, still training, still competing, and still having a good time. So that's kind of, I guess, where it all started and what got me into what I'm doing now.
That's awesome. So you found a passion from a guy asking you questions, right? And I feel like
Jason Brown.
Thank you, Jason Brown. But it's so beautiful is I
Yeah.
feel like we don't ask a lot of questions. I feel like that's what, because I think maybe one of your posts or whatever, but it resonated with me. It's like, we have the answers inside of us, but is it, the book that we read for the third time that we understand something more? Or, when you work with athletes and you're giving them cues and it's finally that like 100th time they're in the gym that they understand the cue. Right. And, so I just like that. It's like that never kind of give up, every time that you read something. I like that you've read that book a couple of times. You went from gluten-free to moving better, to no chemicals, to mindset, which I think mindset is like huge for everybody, especially when you ask the right questions. They're like, that makes a lot of sense. So what led you to de-affiliating from CrossFit?
Man, there's a couple of things. And for the longest time, we're just like, man, I don't know that the marketing that we're getting from the word CrossFit is helping or hurting us. Every everybody thought, I think, that CrossFit was what they saw on TV, which was what I was doing, but very little of what CrossFit is in the CrossFit gym is what's happening on TV. Um, so people thought, I guess, like I was going to make them walk on their hands, or I was going to make them do basically things that were impossible to them. So, and of course, I would never make anyone do, especially anything that's impossible for them to do at the moment. But that was people's perception, and it it showed to be true when we de-affiliated. Because when we de-affiliated, um, a lot more people started joining.
That's kind of funny that when you took that, like, so when you got rid of the CrossFit name, a lot more people were like, hey, I want to join.
Literally the week we got rid of it, we probably had 10 people join our gym.
That's really interesting.
Just from a name change. Yeah.
Right. But it's also kind of like that stigma, and not like trying to like put down CrossFit, but I wasn't a huge CrossFit person to begin with. Just with like that mentality of like, balls to the wall, pushing people, and like we have to like be on the ground, like passed out, and that feeling. I'm like, but is that fitness? And I saw
Yeah, the whole
something,
no pain, no gain thing.
yeah, or like pukey. And I saw something, it's like, with that, you're just chasing an endorphin. It's not fitness, and like, why are people getting hurt and why are people not getting better? I mean, now you can see the evolution, more people are understanding like, okay, so we need more like bodybuilding, movements. We need more accessory pieces, we need more of like the whole body versus just the endorphins of the workout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True that. And like another thing that kind of led us to the de-affiliation was like, I could totally see that Greg had different ideas, and he was very vocal about how he didn't like the CrossFit games, and the athletes were not a priority to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2019, when they changed the way that you qualify, like you didn't even have to do it through the open anymore.
Yeah.
I was just like, what is going on with this place? And it at that time, it seemed, honestly, CrossFit seemed pretty unstable and volatile for a while. But the culture was so strong that I think that's what kept us in it for the longest time. But eventually it just got too erratic, and Greg's behavior was too, like, not that I'm trying to predict everything and control everything, but he just seemed like a loose cannon, man. And like, I'm down for things to change with amongst how the affiliates operate and how the sport is played. Um, but to just have it all be at the command of this guy who clearly didn't even care about us
Mm-hmm.
seemed like a waste of my dollars. So I stopped. Yeah, we stopped paying the affiliate fee last year, and and we say we wish we would have done it sooner, and then all this stuff starts to happen too. So I hate to say that, like, I saw all that coming, but like, and make it seem like I had some sort of like prophecy or something, but I think a lot of people did see it coming, and knew it was only a matter of time before uh, um, that man, even though he's a genius, and I've met him, and he's actually a really sweet guy, and he's a really smart dude. But like most of us, like all of us, he's got some demons. He's got some things he's working on, and some of those things, I think, get in the way of him being able to consistently show us his genius and and his sincerity and his passion. So I'm in a way I'm still, even though he's said some dumb shit and he's made himself kind of look a little foolish, and CrossFit look a little foolish. I have nothing like ill against him. I'm still very grateful for what he's been able to accomplish, and I'm still appreciative for yeah, what he's created and how I mean, there's other people who I guess wouldn't say the same thing, but he's always been nice to me,
Mhm.
and his company has always been there for me whenever I did need anything. But again, it just things looked too erratic, and the his behavior and the games and stuff were all um, seemed just really like it was kind of all spiraling out of control. And I was like, damn, we need to get out of here before something like what just happened.
Right? But I mean, intuition's huge. And I think a lot of times we forget to really listen to our intuition. And like you said, from just knowing who you are via social media, I don't think that you would wish ill will on anybody. You're like, hey, we understand that we're, like you said, we're working through demons. We got things that, we're working on. And sometimes maybe we don't think, the best, or do things that are true to us. But he's done a lot for fitness in general, getting people to work on their bodies and better themselves and focus on nutrition and fitness. So, um, being a games athlete, right? And just like kind of training with that, how has that kind of changed your life? Coming together, and you could see you guys like all coming together and supporting each other, no matter what competitions coming up, whether it's like Wadapalooza, the games, how has that kind of really transformed your life?
Wow, it's really almost like it's quite crazy, really. I mean, I could never imagine any of these things. Like, I was literally just exercising because I loved it, and doing these things because they were fun to me, and I never had really any dreams of, like, honestly, even competing. I just love to exercise and love to train people, and to the
Mm-hmm.
point that I did it for free. I used to coach these classes in the park uh, twice a day for free, and then I got enough people telling me that they're like, "Hey, you're pretty good at this. You should go compete." And I'd see it on TV too, and I'd be like, "Gosh dang, I can do all that stuff. I should go compete." And then I tried it out and did pretty well for my first time, and kept getting better and still getting better today. I'm still learning new things, and although I'm getting older and I don't recover as fast, and I'm not as strong as I used to be in my 20s, but I'm still learning new things and getting better at things that the younger athletes don't like to put time into. Um, and uh, still fairly competitive. I don't think that I'll ever truly devote myself to uh, the training to be as good. I'm happy with what I put in now and the results that I get and the level at which I can compete.
Mm-hmm.
I so gosh, it's really I've traveled the world. like I, it's it's I've met all my best friends are through fitness and through competition. Some of my fondest memories over the past 8 years have been while traveling for competition and being out on the competition floor, um and yeah, it's really yeah, it's incredible what the result of me getting into competing has resulted in, and all the doors that it's opened, and all the friends that I've made. I'm just like, it's it's crazy to reflect on that and even try to put it into words. What what is a result of me competing and what's come of it all. So it's and also at the same time trying not to over identify with myself as a competitor. It's still, there's a big chunk of change of my life that has been put into that jar, and I'm very grateful for um everything that's come of it. So it's tough to put into words, man, but uh, yeah, it's amazing, and I'm still doing it because it's amazing. So, uh, I I don't plan on ever really stop unless I can no longer qualify, thus be competitive, or if I'm just not having fun anymore. And I ask myself every year at the end of the competition season, like, did I have fun? Do I still love doing this? Was it worth the investment of my time? And yes is always the answer, or at least it has been. So I plan on continuing to compete, and I still love training and still love coaching people. So that's what I'm doing.
I like that you said that you have a check-in with yourself to make sure that you're still having fun, because that kind of really resonated with, like the identity with yourself as a competitor, because you are Sam, and there's a lot of hats that you wear, and kind of having that identification of you've been doing that for so long, and like you're an athlete, and the people that you've been able to inspire along the way, like when fans meet you and they want to take a picture with you, and that you were able to like impact their life is, I bet, something just over the top, right? When you're like, oh shit,
It's wild.
you want a picture with me? I mean,
Yeah.
how do you know when you start something what the outcome's going to be? And like you said too, like you're older than you were, well, duh, but you're older than you were when you first started competing. So you're not recovering as, quickly as you used to, and you have to be a little smarter with your training. Like I've noticed as I gotten older, I mean, I'm not like CrossFit Games material, but I just like to compete, that I work out less. I go work out maybe like 4 tops 5 days a week, and I recover, and I can feel a difference. Like my relative strength is there. I know I'm not as strong as I used to be, but it's not like I'm weak by any means too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so with,
It's and Yeah, go ahead.
no, keep going. You can say what you're gonna say.
No, honestly, I wasn't really gonna say much, just so you can
Okay.
proceed.
So with competing, like, or competition, there's people who get into CrossFit and they like see that like shiny gold, object, and they're like, I want to do this. I'm all in. I'm like, how would you help somebody, or maybe some advice for somebody who wants to compete, right? Maybe just like 3 words of advice to help them have the best edge in competition.
Man, I would say probably something along the lines of learn how to meet your energetic needs through calories, um, and make sure that the the energy that you're choosing to solve your your cravings or whatnot are quality things. So just make sure you find quality solutions to your cravings, and that you really learn. I tell even people who come into the gym that aren't trying to compete, I'm like, it's really important to learn how to meet your resting energetic needs. So just your resting metabolic rate, and knowing how to eat enough calories to support that, because it seems that most people don't eat enough, even people who aren't competing, even people who are overweight. um, it seems that most of the time they do not meet their energetic needs, and the reason a lot of people are look overweight, I think, is because they're eating toxic food, and they're kind of like either or starving themselves and then binging, and then their body's trying to hold on to as much as it can because it doesn't know when its next meal is going to come. So that would be number one. Learn how to meet your energetic needs of your training. A Whoop strap is really helpful for that. Just like, or you can go get these DEXA scans and stuff, which will tell you what your and like I said, just meeting your resting needs. Like if you were going to sit
Right.
on a couch for 24 hours, do you know how to feed yourself enough food? And do you know what that looks like? Like, do you know what 5,000 calories looks like on a table, divided up into 4 to 6 meals? Like, do you actually visually, can you imagine what 5,000 calories looks like, and can you consume that? Like, because eating a lot of food to meet the training needs is very difficult. It's a lot of food. It becomes almost like full-time job status. And it's another reason why I don't spend my entire year to win the CrossFit Games, because it is like a full-time job, and I like it as a part-time job. I like, there's other I like to do. And what I do is I just, when it gets to like competition time, like a month out, I will start increasing my calories and eating way more food, and upping my training and all that stuff. So that's like kind of a way that I avoid doing that all year round. So learn how to meet your energetic needs, and make sure you are finding quality solutions to those needs. Um, and it's really easy to want to eat things that are uh, heavily modified, and because, like, you can get way more calories from an Oreo than you can, some broccoli and chicken. So it's easy to want to take those options, but because they do work calorically, like they will provide you with energy, but you're going to be missing. And this is kind of funny. I was just thinking about this yesterday. Like, macros is still like a really popular thing, and macros is very, again, you need to know macros, you need to understand macros, that was like my number one thing. But equal to that is the quality of food that you're eating. And I really just tell people to make sure you're eating living food. Um, things that are pasteurized or highly processed are not really recognizable bodies, and having weird bacteria in your body and stuff like that,
Hmm.
that almost like controls you into continuing to eat really weird shit. So number one, meet your energetic needs. I would say like 1.5, because a big part of that is just making sure that it's quality. And then again, a Whoop strap will help you understand maybe what your caloric needs are. And breathing, I would put that really high up into the category. Um, doing nasal breathing is, I've tried to work with some younger athletes, and they just like blow me off. They just like, they they don't want to do the things that don't look like they're helping.
The glamorous.
So like you were talking about accessory work. Yep, like nobody wants to just like, if it can't get likes on Instagram, it's not worth doing. So that type of attitude athletes have towards training, um, really gives me a lot of confidence, and knowing like I can still compete with these guys because they're not doing everything that it takes to be great. And so nasal breathing, and just getting in touch with your breath and learning how to move with your breath. So how to have your movement be synonymous with your breath, and and just to have consciousness of your breath while you're exercising. And eventually you want that consciousness to expand into, not only can you be aware of your breath while you're moving, but you can be aware of the time. You can be aware of space and distance, and how much further ahead someone is than you, and where you might need to push it a little bit harder. So, and where the clock is, and that you have 2 minutes left in the workout and stuff. So, but that all starts in fundamental. And then, gosh, the last one for a top three, I might go into 3 and 4,
Perfect.
but comparing yourself to other people, it seems is very problematic for a lot of athletes. Like, they'll see someone doing this conditioning and this conditioning and this conditioning, and you're like, oh shit, like, this person's training way more than me, I need to train more. And that's just not really the case. And so just don't compare yourself to other people, and learn what your personal needs are, to feel good and perform well. And you can use, some of those markers to inspire you and motivate you, and set up a plan and a trajectory for where you want to be at a certain time with your performance. But just daily comparing yourself is just going to create a bunch of, like, anxiety, and it's just going to get in your head, and it's going to be more catabolic than you just tried to met your personal needs. And then just like, just learning how to set your day up so that you're sleeping well. I think our sleep tells us a lot about our wellness. And so if you're not sleeping well, it's like a really good indicator that something's not going right throughout your day. So just to keep chipping away at improving your sleep quality, and that is from, your whether or not you're tossing and turning, how many times are you waking up, can you fall asleep, what, like, you're sweating a lot, are you really cold, and how do you feel when you wake up? Like, do you feel good and happy? And I always say, happy, hungry, and horny.
I
So
love
making
that.
sure that you're waking up with with those things. Like, so you're waking up, like, starving, and like you're ready to eat a meal, and you're happy, like, you're not, it doesn't take you 2 hours,
Oh no, you cut out.
a dickhead, and like, or like, the first thing you think about, you can't talk to anybody before you have your coffee. Like, that's a good indicator that something's not right. Or I don't want to say something's not right, you could improve something,
Yeah.
um, in regards to your sleep hygiene and such. And yeah, so those kind of things. And those are the things that people don't want to hear. Most people would want to hear, you need to run X to pull this much sled, and you need to get this many muscle ups in a week, and this many handstand push-ups. Like, that's what people really want to hear. And what I told you is not what's exciting, but it's the truth.
It's necessary. It's 100% necessary. I'm just like agreeing with like everything that you're saying. Like, yes, this is it. Um, less is more type thing too. We don't always need to add more to our plate, especially with like water and sleep and nutrition and quality versus
Ooh,
quantity.
good. There you go, water. I'm
Yeah.
surprised I didn't say water. I'm like a water nerd. My father was actually the pioneer of bottling water, and like he was working with scientists. This is 30 years ago on some really remarkable things about water. Like for instance, like blessing your water or praying over your water and what that will do to the structure of the water. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of structured water. If you were to look up MRET, that's MRET, devices that help structure your water, vortexing devices that structure your water, and then making sure that your water is like filtered and properly mineralized. One of my favorite things to do is I have a soda stream, and then there's this magnesium that you can get from Live Pristine, and you can make your own magnesium bicarbonate, which is one of the most like bioavailable forms of magnesium, which is an electrolyte that you can possibly get. And then I add some extra salts to it to get some other electrolytes too. But water is humongous. I am embarrassed that I didn't say that first. But at least half your body weight in ounces, at least half your body weight in ounces of water, and making sure that it's filtered and remineralized. And a lot of people don't know this. They think that like filtered water is like super good for you. And filtered water is really clean, but it's missing these neutralizing minerals, which basically, so if your water is just filtered, it's going to be acidic. So you need to put the minerals back in there to neutralize the pH, or else you'll just be drinking acidic water. And we're already kind of fighting this quite a bit with our soil situations worldwide, and acid rain, and the Industrial Revolution, kind of has really hampered a lot of this in regards to making us overly acidic beings. So make sure you add minerals to your filtered water. Drink half your body weight in ounces. And I like to add either like Celtic sea salt, or there are these, some people talk shit on it, but these trace mineral drops, just they work real easily. So yeah.
I feel like people
Water.
are so quick to talk shit because it's going to affect them in the pocket. Nobody wants to talk about these unsexy things or educating people or helping them understand something, because then they can't capitalize off of it or make money. It's like, well, we need to empower people that we need to be like listening to our body more, and you have the answers inside of you. And with water, what would you say if somebody doesn't have a hydro stream? What would be your best like go-to, right? Like if there's a bottled water that you like, is there a company that you like?
Yeah, good question. If your finances can afford it, the same company that I mentioned about the magnesium bicarbonate, Live Pristine, they have another division called Pristine Hydro, and their reverse osmosis system not only cleans the water, but also remineralizes it. So you don't have to worry about adding minerals to their system.
Okay.
But if you don't have the finances for it, and I actually enjoy this, I like going and getting my water. It makes me feel kind of like I'm like providing for the family. I'm going like to the well to get water or something like that. But
Yeah.
I just go to and most places have a couple water banks like this. Grocery stores have usually RO units that you can bring a 5-gallon jug and fill up. But I fill up usually 2 5-gallon jugs a week. I got these glass 5-gallon jugs that I really like, and I have a stand that I flip it upside down in, and I squirt some of those trace mineral drops into the 5-gallon jug, or I used to put a couple pinches of Celtic sea salt into the water So go get filtered water from and it doesn't have to be RO. Distilled water is just as good. So just make sure you're remineralizing it. And if you're really nerdy about it and you want to get like pH strips and make sure that you are getting a proper pH. I'm not super big on like drinking alkaline water, just neutral water. Some people praise that stuff. I'm not sure I'm bought into that. So I just promote neutral water. I anytime uh, I tell people they don't know the answer to something anyway, to just say the middle. Somewhere in the middle. So neutral, balanced, not too far right, not too far left, and yeah. So if you have any uncertainty, choose the middle.
It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, not too hot, not too cold, just right. And just real quick, so when Sam was talking about like
Yeah.
pH levels, there's a scale from 1 to 10. 1 is really acidic, 10 is not, and 7 is in the middle. So when he's talking about alkaline, it's like more around that 10 range, and then acidic's like around the lower levels.
Nice, smart lady.
Well, I mean, I dedicated my life to wanting to better my body and helping people see that, we don't need to live in this commercialized world. There's more to that. And I love what you preach, stay classy meats and getting your
Mm,
meats from, the mountains where there are better minerals.
dude, that's
What?
been one of the greatest changes we've made to our nutrition
No shit.
is getting quality sourced flesh foods. It is gosh, again, no words for how much of a game changer that has been for us.
Okay.
And so, yeah, find if you can't find a local ranch or something like that, then you can go to Stay Classy Meats. But try to support some local stuff. And if you don't have that availability for where you live, know that there's a company called Stay Classy Meats that uh, has all these ranchers in Montana, which these animals are getting fed really, really, really well, and it's been I attribute a lot of that to us getting pregnant. Um, I think that was one of the things that really really helped. Not that we were trying to get pregnant, but is what signaled basically to Jenny's body uh, that she's safe, and that she's taken care of. And I think as soon as she got like enough of those signals, that's when her body was just like, baby. So that, yeah. Eat good flesh foods. It's worth. I know it's a scary price point, even at the grocery store, buying the things that are grass fed, grass finished are quite a bit more expensive. But it's just so worth it because you're not going to have to spend your money on other things to reverse the damage that you did from eating commercially raised flesh foods. And we just have to stop supporting. We have to stop supporting commercial farms. We have to,
Mhm.
both with flesh foods and with produce. It's just, if there's anything that's really tearing us apart and tearing the planet apart, it's that type of behavior. Um, so I really encourage anyone who's listening to this to um, just trust that you're going to be okay financially, and you're going to end up saving more money probably than you will be spending because of how well you are. You're not going to have to buy these probiotics or these enzymes and these sleep aids and these all these different things that um, a lot of people are having to do just because they're not getting good nutrition. So good nutrition um, is would do a lot for ourselves individually and for our planet too. So if we could start um, sourcing our meat and produce from more local ranchers and farmers, and yeah, it's going to help us all out. So please do that.
Preach it. Man, I just, I was not joking around, but like selfishly, I wanted you on this podcast so I could just, pick your brain, because you have had so many different experiences and different hats that you've worn, with your competition. You've been able to meet a lot of people who are like trying to revolutionize and help our bodies out. And I just feel like you have so much to offer this world that I'm just so happy that you have given advice, because it's really good. My friend and I planted a garden this year, and it's been
Wow.
so awesome. We have a 20 by 50 foot plot, and we have like lettuce and tomatoes and just, but whatever. And it's so awesome. I spent 3 hours out there the other day, like picking weeds and tending to my
Wow.
garden, and, just being one with nature, listening to guitar music. And it was so freeing. I was just having lots of thoughts, and just being one with nature is like incredible. And I feel like we were just so pulled away. And it really resonated when you did your live broadcast when you guys were on vacation, and just being one with nature and getting back to that, and getting away from our phones, and just the connection and being connected to the earth, because that's we need to be.
Yes.
So what would you say is your spirit animal?
Oh, it's a turtle.
Yay! What makes it a turtle?
Yes. I'm not sure that I have any like acute moments that really made me more fond of the turtle. But gosh, I just feel like it's always been so. Years and years and years and years ago, I was deep sea fishing, and I thought I got my line like stuck. But we kept pulling on it, pulling on it, pulling on it, and this huge sea turtle comes up, and it is the size of a vehicle. It was it was it was so big, and that really blew my mind. And I've always kind of loved like reptiles and amphibians, and we have a pet turtle here at the gym called Jim Turtle. He he wandered in here about 3 years ago, and so yeah, just a couple. I have a couple turtle encounters, and I've always loved going like to lakes or rivers and like sprinkling some food into there and waiting for the turtles to come up and then grabbing them and hanging out with the turtles for a while. So
I love it.
um, yeah. So and I'm always like, I don't have any on now, but usually have like a turtle necklace on or a turtle bracelet. I just got some turtle bracelets for myself, Jenny, and baby Star. So I just like the turtles. I think there might be some deeper meaning to all of it too. Maybe I like their I like their protective layers, and I like their pace. I like maybe even the turtle from what was it, Finding Nemo. That guy was pretty
What's
cool.
up, Duke?
Yeah.
Righteous.
So, and maybe that guy was like the spirit of turtles too. And which, if that's the case, then I think I'm right on track in choosing well with turtle as a spirit animal. Do you have one?
Yes, unicorn. I
Oh,
don't know
nice.
how I don't really know how it happened, but unicorn are definitely my spirit animal. People tell me I kind of have this like magical aura around me, and it's just something that I kind of like happened upon. And when I worked at the last gym I worked at, not the current one, for Friday Night Lights, we would have teams, and my team name was Unicorn Strong, and it was awesome just to see people in like all this unicorn gear stuff. So yeah,
That's
it was
nice.
awesome. Um,
Um,
you good? You want to say something?
yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Just to kind of like wrap things up, I'm definitely gonna have to have you on again, because I just love talking with you and you have so much knowledge to give. But what would be some takeaways? I know that you gave, advice on competing, but what would be some takeaways
that you want to give to the audience? It could be one to three, just key takeaways.
Yeah. Gosh dang. I really that book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek, is it changed my life 10 years ago, and it continues to just yeah help me out today. And I still reference it, and I recommend it all the time. And I would just tell people to check that. Sorry, there's some construction going on here,
That's okay.
but just that's a really good book to just have to cover kind of all areas of your life, with from nutrition to stress to sleep to making sure that you're not having any chemical exposure at work or at your house, because gosh, like I don't think people understand like how much comes through our skin. And speak like we spoke on water earlier, like getting a shower filter um, may be the very thing that takes someone out of adrenal fatigue, or treats them of their Hashimoto's, or I had Hashimoto's for like a year. And typically, I guess when you have Hashimoto's, like you have Hashimoto's. No one ever talks about really of treating themselves as that, but I did, and it just came. A lot of it was the stuff that we've been talking about, making sure that I'm drinking clean water, making sure that your mindset is good, and make sure that you're getting quality nutrition and you're getting enough of it. The the mindset thing is huge. I don't think people really understand that like stress can kill you. And there's all types of stress. There's psychological stress, there's physical stress, there's thermal stress, there's chemical stress, there's electromagnetic stress. And every one of those all gets handled by the body the same. It doesn't discriminate towards, or treat one stress different than the other. So, and again, that book talks about that. And so I would tell people to get that book.
Okay.
What else? Little takeaways. You know what? I love your kind of introduction to the show, and to take away from that, like just do your own research, be your own scientist, and don't just take my word for it. Anything. Don't take anyone's thing. Like watch something, study something, see if it resonates with you. Like see if it doesn't, move on. And if there is something that touches you, to implement it, like try to integrate it into your life, and then like retest, like is it, if it's keeping that thing, if it's worse, get rid of it. And
Right.
if it's the same, maybe just keep playing with it. And if it sticks, then it's good. And if it's something that kind of fades away, like for instance, I might try a supplement, and I might be told that this supplement can help me with X, Y, and Z. So I take the supplement, and I know the studies say that like it's going to do X, Y, and Z, but I haven't noticed anything. Most times it very naturally just works its way out of my life, and I don't even like intentionally do that. It just kind of happens very naturally. So just read stuff, listen to stuff, watch stuff until you hear something or read something or see something that kind of, I call it the Jesus punch. kind of just it hits you, and it almost like makes you a little emotional, or just you're just like, oh wow, like I think that's maybe, something I could work on, and just work on it for a little bit, and see if it changes your life. And if it does, awesome. If it doesn't, like, carry on, just move on to the next little thing. So just be your own researcher. Don't, I hate saying this too, like, don't trust, it's hard to find a really good doctor these days. Like, when I had my Hashimoto's thing, and I also have an eye disease, called keratoconus, and I'm I'm a pretty, even though I'm just like a dude, I'm pretty well educated. Like, I've read hundreds and hundreds of books. I love studying stuff online. I love signing up for little courses and things here and there. Um, so I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm the smartest guy in the world, or like doctors don't know anything. But working with a lot of them, I've been able to find out and treat myself better than most doctors have been able to help and treat me. So I think we give a lot of these white coats way too much authority, and honestly, nobody should know you better than you. And so to just like take it upon yourself to learn more about yourself, and study so that you can understand yourself more, not just physically, but emotionally and as well. And just embrace that journey, man, and take it, yeah, again, take it upon yourself um to come up with creative solutions to your lifestyle related problems. And like, yeah, so again, I'm not trying to dog on the medical system at all. I just, and I had, I, I, I've seen a lot of doctors for things that, problems that I've had, and most of them just put you, you want to put you on drug to cover up your problem.
Band-aids.
So again, they're not all bad, but um, yeah, and food is medicine. That's it. Like, almost every single problem I've ever had, I've been able to solve with food. When it comes to my physical problems, maybe not sleeping well, or Hashimoto's, or low testosterone, or or I'm not recovering fast enough, or my stomach hurts. Like, food is medicine, and we need to start treating it kind of that way. Gosh, any other real takeaways that hopefully don't sound like rants?
I love rants.
Um, Man, ditch the TV, especially if you have one in your bedroom. Like, no TVs belong in the bedroom. I just went to a friend's house not long ago, and they don't even have a TV in their house. Like, I think that's really cool. There's so many agendas being pushed on television, and same with the news. Like, all the news is controlled by, like, kind of one of maybe 60s, and those entities are definitely having things being um, published for their own, personal needs and agendas to be met. And so there's people that, like, it's pretty cool now with social media and YouTube now. Like, you can kind of go out and hear different point of views, and that aren't the mainstream media, and ironically enough, that anyone else who's
Oh no, you cut
to be quite goes along with just do your own research, do your own.
You kind of just cut out, Sam. Hold on. I think our connection's kind of bad.
The practice to, yeah. Hold on.
Do you want to repeat what
How
you said?
about now?
Yeah, there you go.
Anything?
Yeah, that was good.
There we go. But I'm not sure exactly where that cut out, but yeah, just I guess what I was kind of getting at was turn off your damn TVs. Don't watch any of that garbage. You can find way better information elsewhere. Read a book. And it's crazy, man. Like during the whole coronavirus thing, Jenny and I pieced out. Like coronavirus was not existent in our reality for 30, 40 days. Like outside of the fact that we had to now move to like online programming for our gym, unless we went to like the grocery store or something, which we only did like once a week, we totally forgot that there was a pandemic even going on. Like we literally had no idea. We were off of social media for the most part. I don't watch TV. I haven't watched television, and it's probably been like 4 years now. And I truly attribute it to one of the greatest reasons why I feel the way I feel and I'm able to act the way I act, because I don't have all this anxiety and depression and fear that is thrust upon me by news media outlets. So just like stay off of that stuff. You'll be healthier because of it. Like, and even before all the pandemic stuff, we all knew that the news only really ever covers bad news. You know, no, they never have anything really like overly positive or great to share. It's most of the time a bunch of negative shit. So just like, it's okay to set boundaries for yourself and kind of remove the negativity from your life, and you'll probably be better for it. So again, kind of ranty.
I love it. I haven't watched the news in like 5 years, and I only watched it a little bit because the person I was dating at the time watched the news, but it's been very life-changing, and I agree with what you said. It has helped me be the person that I am today. 100%.
Yeah.
Just a little overview, thank you so much for be on my podcast, Sam. Like you have helped me think about some things that, I want to change in my life, and things that I haven't thought about, but not really thought about, especially with water. But, just to recap, Sam has been in the fitness realm since 2012, and it's 2020, and he has never stopped trying to make himself better and change himself. And, if you take anything away, is like, be your own scientist, take control of your life. You have the ability and the answers to manifest the life that you want to live. And, life is trial and error, and you never stop until the day you die. Like, there's no end point, 6-week challenge, no 12-week challenge, no quick fix, no band-aids on a wound that you just keep putting on there. Like, if something doesn't work, there's always something else. We live in a world with so many opportunities that we're just so quick to think, oh, I'm a failure. And I agree with Sam. I feel like that the media and just, in general, people are so quick to say that you failed, but it's never failure. It's always learning. There's always something to learn and discover. And when he was giving some tips, talking about water, your body is 60% water. You need to be drinking half your body weight in ounces and replenishing the minerals and that we are losing with our soil and mass production and, the shit quality that's out there. It's always quantity. It has been and it always will be. And less is more, y'all. Like, it's just not, oh, if I'm not getting something, well, I need to do more of this. No, what the fuck are you doing right now? Like, what are you doing currently? Do you have a 20-page list of stuff? Well, then we probably need to take some of that away, kind of decoding your life and seeing, okay, what do I want to keep? Like, what is serving me and what is no longer, serving me? And just 3 takeaways. You've got to look at that book, and it's on my list now, Paul Chek, Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. And just really understanding how you can really have a quality life, and you don't always have to like go to doctors and be on pills and medications, and going into that, doing your research. And I agree with Sam. We're not saying that doctors don't have, the knowledge and the base, but a lot of them is just, they are, backed by the pharmaceutical companies and trying to write these prescriptions and different things. And, even a coach too, like the person that's asking questions really has the best interest in you, not listening and telling you what to do. It's asking you questions, because that's where the answer lies. How is your sleep? How is your water? How is your stress? And it's not the glamorous things, because it takes time, and it's getting uncomfortable. Getting comfortable in the uncomfortable, and those like confrontational things that we don't want to talk about. And last thing is like, ditch the TV. I know there's like Netflix and different things out there and like fun movies to watch, but like reading books, it's where it's powerful, and knowledge is powerful.
Even gosh, and even Netflix might have, some agenda behind it too. They literally can just put in front of your face
They watch,
whatever they want, and you might think that it was just your interest, and that the algorithms decided to pull that up like it was just for you. So read some books, listen to some podcasts. Gosh damn,
there you are.
Podcasts are great. Like there's and like Paul Chek's podcast. So, and let me have a little disclaimer, like, and this goes for anything that I read, that I study, like I am not Paul Chek. Like the way that I think, what I believe, the way that I act, I am not him. Like, so there's things that Paul does that I wouldn't do. And there's things that he says that I might not say. I don't get all bent out of shape about it. I just, again, I find the things that he says that resonate and that I'm interested in, and I just start applying it, and I see if it results in greater change. And there's a lot of things that he talks about in his podcast and shows that have really, really helped me. In his book, there's definitely some things that'll touch some buttons and trigger you. But honestly, nowadays that I go like kind of hunting for the trigger. Like I'm looking for things that make me uncomfortable and make me want to have a reactive response, because I know that's where the work is, and that's where I need to start practicing. There's obviously some sort of program running that is maybe needs to go,
right?
or I just need to become aware of, right? So, whenever you're triggered, or whenever you overreact to something without, just maybe without reacting, just like to basically choose your reaction, not just to react, but to observe the feeling that you're having, and then to choose how you wish to creatively emote that. That for me is where the practice is at right now. And I don't really go hunting for things to trigger me, but I do recognize that when I am being triggered, that this is an opportunity for me to grow and learn. And so I kind of get excited when I get a little triggered, and I do my best to not react. I am fully human and I react poorly often. I'm just trying to reduce the probability of me having a reoccurring poor reaction that has happened in the past. So yeah. So cool. Hopefully that was like, I don't know if we went over on time or if we can talk more.
No agenda.
Or how you're
no
doing,
agenda.
and hopefully this is good for your audience. And I'm so pleased to be on your show and sharing some time with you. And it was a pleasure to get to know you. And you are a warrior woman, and I'm very happy and energized knowing that there's people like you doing what you're doing.
Oh, that means so much that you say that, because likewise to you, you know, I mean, when I started this podcast, you know, like I said, I didn't have like an agenda. It was just that I wanted to have a platform where people come on and we just help people share stories and ways to empower people to be themselves and not, you know, be so tunnel vision or brainwashed into thinking this is the, you know, only way. And I'm feisty, and there's always a solution. There's never an end point, you know? And like, we got to be curious. Like, we have to be more curious. We can't just think like this is the, you know, only way, or there's one side than the other. Like, it's never good when we're divided, you know, like you said, meet in the middle. It's better to be in the middle than one side or the other. So yeah, thank you, Sam. If you guys have not, Sam Dancer is on Instagram. Please follow him. He just puts out really good content or shares what's on his mind or different perspectives of people that share things that resonate with him. And I've been following him forever, and well, not forever, but for a good majority of time. And he's really helped me in my journey, in my, you know, quotations, weirdness, in my spiritual journey and all of that. So thank you all again thank you for your time, Sam, but thank you guys for your time. Remember, time is one of the most valuable currencies that we have, and you get to spend that however you want, and just appreciate you spending that time with me.
Of course. And whenever you'd like to do these, you know how to get a hold of me. So I love you, Shelby. And yeah, thanks again for having me.
All right. Bye.